Photopea open. Over here on my left side, I have my toolbar. On my right side is my panels. Up here at the top, I have my menu bar, and just below that is my options bar, and this in my center is my drawing canvas. And everything is the same here as it is on Photoshop. So we are going to be creating a potato head so that we can practice using our layers and some of our tools. So I'm going to come up here to File, New, and I'm going to name my project My Name, Potato Head. And right now my size of my project is fine. My background white is fine, and I'm going to press create. And it's going to give me a new drawing canvas. So I want to make a potato head. First thing I'm going to come do is search for a potato to use as my head. Ooh, this looks like a good potato. I'm going to right click, save image as potato. That's going to go to my downloads folder. So I'm going to come here. I can either press File, Open and Place, and go find my file, or I can just click and drag. I'm going to make this guy a little bit bigger. And you see here, this creates a new layer when I put an image in it. So I can press Return on my keyboard, and it's going to place that image. If you hover over these, it will tell you what that tool is, and that V next to the name is the shortcut. So if I'm maybe on another tool and I want to grab this but don't want to bring my mouse all the way up here, I can just hit V on my keyboard and it changes to my move tool. So the first thing I want to do is add some eyes. Let's go find some eyes. What kind of eyes do I want to use? Let's look for dropping. I like some of these eyes, so I'm going to save this. And this time I will show you open and place. So right now, well, now my eyes are, I can't see my eyes when I try to put them on my potato. That's because my potato layer is on top of my eyes layer. So I want to click and drag my eyes layer on top of my potato layer. Now when we progress through this project, we are going to have a lot of layers on here, and you're not going to be able to tell which layer is which. So to keep them straight, I want to double click and name this eyes. So right now I have a lot of eyes on top of my potato. First, I want to just pick out which eyes I want. I want these wide eyes. So I'm going to start deleting parts of this picture. This is your selection tool. You have lots of different selection tools. I'm going to start with this rectangular selection just so I can delete some of this. I want to make sure I'm on the right layer. I'm on my eyes layer. Oh, my object must be rasterized first. We are saying that we want to convert it from a vector format to a raster format. And the difference between a vector and a raster is that a raster is made out of pixels. So this whole image is made out of different colored pixels to create the object or the image. A vector graphic is made up of paths. So these paths are all mathematical equations that decide what shape and what color this object or image is. We are taking what is now a vector format image or object made out of mathematical equations, and we are turning it into pixels so that we can edit it. So you can just right click and hit rasterize, and it will rasterize it for you. So now I'm going to come back, and now I can edit my image. So now I still have this big white bar on my eyes. I'm going to come back up here to, this is another selection tool. I'm going to pay attention to this magic wand tool. The magic wand is a selection tool that you can click on a color and it will recognize the rest of that color. So right now I clicked on the white part, it selects the rest of the white parts. So then I can press delete and it deletes my white parts. I'm going to click off. I'm going to come back up here to my move tool, and now I want to make these eyes fit onto my potato. I want to go up here to edit, free transform, and that's going to give me these size boxes, and I can size this how I want. And press return or enter to put that where you want. Now I kind of want my eyes closer together, so I'm going to come back up here to my selection tool and select just this part, and I am going to free transform, and now I can move that eye closer together. And then I'm going to click enter, and I'm going to come back up here to my move tool, and now I can move my eyes. Okay, now let's find a nose. I want a nose that is straight on. Here we go. Well, now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come up here to my magic wand tool so that I can select just the white parts. I need to rasterize my image, so I'm going to right click, rasterize. There we go. Now I'm going to come up here to free transform. Now you see how I can stretch this. If you do not want it to stretch, you can hit your shift key and it will keep the same dimensions. Click enter to place it. Now I want to rename my layer nose, not A's, nose. There we go. Let's see if we can find some lips. If we zoom in, I want this mouth. If I come over here to my selection tool and click and hold, you have these other lasso select tools. You have a lasso select, a polygonal lasso select, and a magnetic lasso select. If I click this one, I can just click and select. If I do the polygonal, I can click and make shapes. I am going to use the magnetic lasso tool. I'm going to click on the edge of the shape I want to select, and I am going to just drag across, and if I need to make extra clicks, I can make extra clicks to tell it where I want it to go. but for the most part, it finds the edge of colors. Once I get to the end, I can click to select. So now I have just this mouth selected. I'm probably going to need to rasterize. So if I just press delete, it would delete the mouth that I want. So let's undo that. I'm going to come up here to select inverse. Now it's going to turn my selection inside out. So it's going to select everything except for what I have selected here. So now I can press delete and I just have my mouth. So I want to come up here to my move tool and zoom out a little bit. And if that bothers you, that selection, I usually just come up here to my rectangular select and click off. Now we're coming along. I think my nose needs to be moved up a little bit. So let's rename this mouth. And I can move my mouth. I think we're looking good. Let's add some hair. Here we go. Now this one's going to need to be stretched a little bit. I think I want to take some of this out. So let's go over here and find our eraser tool. Now sometimes there's a lot of tools hidden in here. You know, if you click and hold, it's going to give you a lot of other things. So sometimes when you don't see something on here, you just have to click around to find it. There, it's under our paintbrush, our eraser tool. Now you can change the size of your eraser tool. I want it to be a little bit bigger. We've got to rasterize it and we're going to rename it. Now, do you see how I have such a hard line on the edge of that? If I go back here, I can turn down the hardness. That means it just feathers that edge a little bit. So we're going to get a little bit of a blurry edge. Let's rename this hair. I think the last thing I want to add is legs. What kind of legs do I want to add? Oh, these will be funny. I'm going to come get my, oh, I bet this is going to need to be rasterized. Now I'm going to come get my magic wand, select, delete all of that. I've got this thin green line. I'm just going to come get my eraser and take that out. Now I want to add my potato head up a little bit so that I can add my legs down here at the bottom. But all of these are different layers. So I can come here and click this layer, my hair, and then I'm going to hold shift down on my keyboard, and that's going to select all of these layers. So then I can come up here to my move tool and move my head up. And maybe I want my drawing canvas to be turned the other way so I have some more room. Let's go here to image, canvas size, and we're just going to switch these. 1280 by 720, 1280 by 720. And if it helps you think this is in pixels, you can change it to inches if that is helpful. So now let's do this again. Now let's come up here and name this legs. And I want the top of these legs to go behind my potato. So right now my potato has this white background on it. Let's go to that potato layer. This is why we name our layers. See, I could find that layer super easy because I named it. And I'm going to come up here to my selection tool, magic wand selection tool. Gotta rasterize it. So that took that white background out, and now I'm going to drag my legs down and put them behind all the other layers. That is a weird selection. Let's see what we've got here. It's because that shadow is down there. It didn't select that part of the shadow. So we're just going to zoom in, and we're going to come up here to our polygonal lasso tool, and this is where I'm just going to keep making clicks so that I can select that. See, I didn't really get that where I wanted. I can just press delete, 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 and it just backs it up for me a little bit. So now I'm on my potato layer. I can delete that, and it takes that part out. I'm going to come up here and print rectangle just to unselect that. Let's check it out. I like it so far. So now I just want to add a background layer. I'm just going to use my rectangle shape to do that. Now that I have finished my potato head, I just want to add a background color. So I'm going to do this with my rectangle shape tool, and I'm just going to, your fill color is up here. That is what fills in your shape. Your stroke color is the edge of your shape, the outline. So you have a few options up here. So I'm just going to pick one and make my shape, and it's going to be green, but I want it, oh, that's an interesting salmon color. Let's try that. I want to make it this color. Maybe I want to find the exact color I want. So I can find it down here in my color picker, and then I can come up here to my paint bucket tool, and I can dump that color into my shape after I rasterize it. And I see that I have some little white over here, and I'm not sure which layer that is on. So I'm going to go through And these eyes next to my layer are telling me that I can see that layer right now. So if I take that away, that just hides the layer. So it's not my legs. Oh, it's my potato. So I'm going to click on that layer, and I'm going to go get my eraser and take that out. Now maybe I like this background color for my layer, but I would like to make it a gradient. So if I come over here and go on my gradient, I can, you can pick your colors up here. It uses your colors from your color picker. So maybe I don't want this to be black. Maybe I want that to be more gray. Click OK. That's going to change it to gray. And I can drag this whichever direction I want. And right now it is on top of my legs. And it's on my potato layer. So I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to come put that on its own background layer. Maybe I want this going up. I think I liked it black. Let's try this way. There we go. So there is my potato head. Now to save it, I'm going to press File, Save as PSD, that is a Photoshop document. And it's going to go into my Downloads folder. And this you can email to